Hello book lovers, welcome to another episode of the Monday Book Club. I'm Zoe Kirk-Robinson and this week we're looking at Richard Matheson's classic sci-fi horror novel, I Am Legend. Matheson was a horror writer working at a time when horror was being routinely overlooked by the publishing world. Horror wasn't what sold tickets at the cinema, it was B-movie fodder, and it wasn't what sold books. At a time when Matheson's writing was at its peak, you sold your novels by sticking a rocket on the cover and writing science fiction. So what do you do in that kind of situation? Well, Matheson came up with a brilliant idea. He would write horror, but he would disguise it as science fiction. Hence the post-apocalyptic setting of I Am Legend. Our protagonist here is Robert Neville, who appears to be the last man alive. He's being constantly taunted by hideous creatures, and he lives in a fortress-like home where every night all these monsters try to break in, and he's playing loud music every night in order to drown out the cries from outside of creatures just trying to drive him insane. Every night, an army of the undead try to break in and get at him, and every day he wreaks his revenge. He goes out during the day when the undead can't go out, and he hunts them down and kills them one by one. It's a fantastic idea for a setting, and it's a really, really gripping story. Now, this story's been turned into a film several times, mostly not under the title of I Am Legend. The Omega Man and things like that, they're all variants on this book. The closest that we got to following the actual plot of the book as well, because it doesn't tend to turn up a lot in the cinema versions, was Will Smith's I Am Legend. Now, everyone has seen it as basically agreed that the ending doesn't work, and the reason for that is that the ending diverges very, very sharply from what's actually in the book, apparently due to what happened when test audiences saw the original version of the film and the original ending. Now, I haven't seen the original ending, but apparently it's closer to the book, and I want to talk about that now. So if you haven't read the book, click away on this link here, because it'll take you further into this video past the spoilers. And do that in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have they gone? Yeah. Okay, we should be past all the people who haven't read it now, so let's talk about the ending. Now, the problem that with filming the original ending of the book is that it makes the audience feel like they've been tricked. Robert Neville thinks he's the hero, and for the majority of the story, so do we, the readers. But the problem with that is that throughout the book, we're given these hints that nothing's quite what it seems, and that the Vampire Society isn't quite the group of hideous monsters that we've been led to believe. The vampires are actually thinking people. They're people with a disease. And at the end of the story, we find out the reason why the book is called I Am Legend. It's because Robert Neville, who is going out every day during the day, which from the vampire's point of view is when they're all asleep, and killing people, he's become a monster. He is this legendary bogeyman who comes and hunts you in the night. And that's why, all of a sudden, wow, we've been rooting for the villain. Although from his point of view, he's not. He's the last man alive and he's confronted by this hideous society of monsters. No, it's a fantastic twist ending, and the way it's written, it sticks with you for long after you've put the book down, and it's actually one of the greatest twists in the whole of sci-fi, in my opinion. But you can't really film that and have a successful film, because unfortunately, although the novel allows you the nuance and the ability to drop a load of hints that people, while reading the book over probably several hours, maybe even a couple of days, they're going to pick up on that and think about it and go, wait a minute, nothing's quite where it seems here, what's going on? Whereas with a film, you've got an hour and a half maybe, and during that time you don't really have the same amount of ability for nuance and the ability to drop hints that can just percolate up as the viewer is watching, because it doesn't have that amount of time for you to think about it. So all of a sudden you have this twist that seems to come out of left field for a lot of people, and then as a result it doesn't work as well. So you get a shock value, and that's not quite the same as what's supposed to be going on. And it's a shame that that's the situation, but that's how it is. Which means that if you want a proper, nuanced version with an ending that really fits and really works for the story, then you've got to go for the book version. Of course you do, because that's how it is. Okay, let's bring back in the people who haven't read the book yet so we can talk a bit more. So welcome back. Now let's talk about the writing. Now, Richard Matheson, I think people will agree, is one of the best science fiction and horror writers of the 20th century. His books really stick with you long after you've finished them, and he's just got a master of pace and tension. This book feels like a survival horror story from a time when survival horror wasn't really a thing. The way he writes, it's so well respected and so well received that when the science fiction Masterworks book set came out, of the 73 books that were released, 2 of them are Richard Matheson. One is The Shrinking Man, and the other, at number 2 in the set, is I Am Legend. So it ranks pretty highly. Now, it's a short novel, and you can probably get through it in a day. I mean, I did. I just sat down and went straight through it. But it's so well written that, although it's short, it's densely packed, it's tightly written, and there's an awful lot of going on. The tension just keeps mounting and mounting until you realise what's going on in the book and what the twist is going to be. Like, wow, my goodness, this is fantastic. So, despite its shortness, it actually works for that because it keeps the pace going. Matheson is a master of the way to build tension without having a huge amount of dialogue, because there's no one for him to talk to. Neville is on his own. That's how it is. So it's really well done. And I have to say, of all the books I've read, this one really does stick with me, probably the most out of everything. So I can't recommend it highly enough. Anyway, if you haven't read it, go and do so. You will not regret it. But that's really all we've got time for this week, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you did like this, and if you did, remember to click the like button, share it with your friends so that they'll know a good book when they see it, and do subscribe for future videos because there will be more in the future. But until next time, I've been Zoe Kirk-Robinson. You've been watching the Monday Book Club on ZJKR. Tune in next week and we'll be talking about The Girl Who Played With Fire, the second in the Millennium series from Stieg Larsson. And if you do have any comments about I Am Legend or Girl Who Played With Fire, do leave them in the comments section below and we'll get a conversation going on that. But that's all we've got time for this week, so thank you very much for watching and bye for now.